Yeah.
Yo, welcome to the RX Debrief team, your unfiltered health and fitness platform. We're back again this week with another guest. And how are we all going? How are you, Mo?
Oh, brother, I'm so good. I am getting used to doing this through the screen. Started the day well. What did you have for breakfast, Levi?
Mo, I had some muesli with a bit of drizzle of peanut butter.
Oh, yeah.
And then had a nice coffee and a protein shake on the side. So that was
Nice.
pretty good start to the day. Kenyon, bro, what did you have for breakfast?
Ah, man, bro, I had a late breakfast, and I actually just had, because it was so late, I just had leftovers from last night. So I didn't even have my eggs like I usually do.
Yeah.
But I'll save those for later, though. I'll save those for later. I got to get on my 6 eggs. So, but yeah, how has training been throughout the week, Levi? I'd heard you got a pretty gangster Sunday session coming up.
Yeah, training's been pretty good so far. Just had a couple sessions this morning, which has been nice. During the week, same old really. But Sunday is a marathon workout. I won't get into too much detail. I'll post it on my page later, but it's 2.5 hours long essentially. So
damn,
it's gonna take a while. But yeah, what about you, Mo? How's your training going? Good?
Oh, bro, training's been, let's just say here and there. But a bit slack this week, but that's only because I've got doing lots of other little work and little projects that we've got on the play. But trying to keep and maintain the most of it though, so it's going all right. What about you, Kenny? Hurt yourself?
I did actually, but I'm actually on the recovery. So I've just been doing bodyweight stuff. Doing a bit more running because I suck at running.
Yeah.
So I guess my favorite movements this week have been running and burpees, essentially.
Nice.
But yeah, and then just doing a bit of plyometric stuff. I did a pretty good. Actually, it was a Team Richie workout last night.
I've seen that one. I think you've done it was the lunges and squat.
Lunges and squats. Yeah, complex. Yeah, 100 of those. Bro, when you jump, do all of it jumping. Holy fuck. Just the biggest lactic acid buildup. It's ridiculous. And I was like, fuck, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, so I've just been keeping it cool, really. But yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So who have we got on today, bro? Levi?
On today's show, we have one of the CrossFit OGs of this country, Gemma Root.
Nice.
So that's going to be a quick conversation with her.
Yeah.
All right, gangster. Well, looks like you're interviewing her today. So good luck, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Right. I'm glad to hear some knowledge bombs from her, from the OG. And we'll see you at the end.
Yep, appreciate it.
Cheers, brother.
Sweet as. Yeah, so guys, like I was saying, today on the show we have Gemma Root. She's down in Christchurch training at Trailblazer. She is one of sort of like the New Zealand OGs of the CrossFit game here. She's been to the games and done some sanctionals and all that sort of stuff. So let's get her on the show, eh? So let's welcome Gemma Root.
Hey, hi Levi, how you going?
Hey, how are you?
Good, thank you. So funny hearing me being an OG. I swear, it makes me laugh every time. It just makes me think, damn, I've been in this game for a long time.
Hey, that's not a bad thing though, right? Experience is good.
I wish I could, sorry, I'm just going to say, I wish I could distract Callum from asking these questions because I look at his comment and it makes me laugh. Oh, sorry, Levi, I lost you for a second there.
Oh, no, you're back on now. You're back on.
Cool. Okay. That's good.
So, yeah, that may not know who you are. Do you want to just give us a quick intro on sort of who you are, where you're from, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm Gemma Root. I'm from Papakura in South Auckland. No shame. And I grew up in Auckland, lived there for the majority of my life, and then I moved down to Christchurch 2 years ago. I moved down for a boy, which is a bit rank. He was I was pretty done with Auckland at that time and wanted to explore new things. So yeah, that's me.
Sweet. It looks to be a little bit of lag, so I'm not too sure what's happening there. We'll see if old mate Ben can sort that one out. Come on, producer. Anyways.
Oh, it's me. Hey, bro. We're back.
Was it back? That was quick.
Technology, eh? Technology must be dropping out.
Nah, it definitely doesn't sometimes, but it's all good.
We're okay. We're all that.
I want to hear some crack-up stories between her and Callum, because Callum's just giving her so much shit.
Yeah.
I want to see what that's all about, eh?
Straight off the bat. You know what? We'll ask her. We'll see what the beef is or what the relationship is between them, eh?
Yeah.
Crack-up is.
But I think old Ben sorted her out, so we'll see if we can get her back on.
Good work.
Sweet.
Okay, back.
You're back. Here we go.
I'm back. All right. I did hear that question about Callum and I's beef. So I wish I would have been there when you guys had that training session in the gym at CrossFit East Tamaki. Because I would have loved you guys to see exactly how he treats all of his athletes, and he probably did. But for me particularly, he has given me shit from the get-go. He used to literally, I would be ready to take a lift. I remember this, and then he'll come up to my barbell and strip my barbell just before I go in to get a lift, and I'd be like, what? And then you set up for equipment for a workout, and then he'll come and move the equipment all over the place. And I'm like, what? He just has picked on me since day one.
I'm sure he actually done stuff like that when we were training there. Not to us, but to some of his athletes. He was doing like little things like that. So
yeah, he keeps it entertaining. That's all. He keeps it entertaining. But I've known Renegade and been with Renegade for 7 years now. So to me, and I'm going to be real cheesy, shame Callum calling you out, Megan and Callum and the Renegade team are like my family. So it's just like a kind of funny brother-sister relationship that I get picked on all the time.
It's fair enough. Pretty normal for like a family situation to be doing a bit of banter like that all the time. So
pretty much. I cop a lot of
it. Anyways, we'll rewind things a little bit, and we'll just take it back to sort of how did you get into the CrossFit scene here? Like, what made you, or how did you find CrossFit and get involved in that sort of thing?
It was at the end of 2013. I was studying for my master's in fine art in Auckland, and my partner at the time had just started a boot camp that later led to a CrossFit gym, and he was really encouraging me to come along. So I really enjoy it. I hadn't done any fitness for years. I did soccer from 5 till 15, and then I became a teenager and ditched it because I thought I was too cool for sport at the time, which I wasn't at all. And so from 15 years old, I hadn't done any training, any kind of fitness, any kind of exercise at all. Until I was 28. So I was 28 at the time in 2013 when I started.
Ooh.
And older. And then I started right after my exhibitions had finished for my degree. And then I just got into this 2013 club, this boot camp, then just fell in love with fitness. That gym became a CrossFit gym, and then I made friends throughout that gym. And then one of my friends moved to CrossFit East Tamaki, and we had heard things about them lifting weights all the time and moving barbells and stuff, and that was something I really needed to work on, still need to work on. But and then I moved to CrossFit East Tamaki in 2014. And from there, I've just been very lucky to progress and do the things that I've done. So that's how I started. Had no exercise experience, no fitness experience. I just jumped in and then just fell in love with it, as you do.
Yeah, I definitely I could agree with you on that one in terms of saying that you just jump in and then you kind of get addicted to it, really.
You do, and you end up doing the whole. I go in the morning and I do my workout, and then I want to beat my workout score, so I'm going to come in again at the night time and do my workout again. Oh my gosh, what a loser! Oh, sorry, but like, no, that was me from the get go, and like, you just fall in love with it, and you fall in love with the people around it, and the fulfillment and achievement that you get out of it and get out of each workout. And yeah, that's how I started. And
oh, that's awesome. No, I can definitely relate to that and that. So, and then from that point, you obviously started becoming very good and going further and further into like competitions and
so 2014, I fell into CrossFit East Tamaki. I remember being the first workout I did was Fran, and I remember getting so much shit because I used to always drink in between my workouts, which I still kind of do. But I remember getting so much shit for it. But anyway, 2014, I went to CrossFit East Tamaki, and then that year was my first open. And I remember the first open workout, it was like snatches and double unders. And it was the first time and many times that I like burst into tears after the workout because I did terrible and I felt terrible and stuff. And oh my God, it was terrible. But yeah, first open. And then throughout that open, we qualified a team for regionals, a CrossFit East Tamaki team, which was myself, Zach Knopfling, Adam King, see if I can remember, Kaz, Brooke McCarthy, and Aiden Chimley. So qualified a team, and that year Callum had gone as an individual to regionals and was going to regionals as an individual. Megan was just in the recovery from her shoulder.
Yeah.
And then a couple of the others in our team to come were going as individuals as well. and then we went to regionals in 2014, and then we came like 32nd or something like that. It was tough. We got our asses kicked. It was a really tough time. Yes, Callum, my snatches were rubbish at 2014. They were. I remember I couldn't even do strict handstand push-ups or ring muscle ups and stuff. Were a struggle to do. So that was my first experience at regionals. But still fell in love with it. And then so after that, Callum and Zach kind of got together and had a discussion about trying to put a team together towards the All-Star affiliate, which is an Australian competition.
Yeah.
And they were hosting a qualifier at the end of 2014 in New Zealand. Now, I think it was Reebok CrossFit New Zealand. I can't remember off the top of my head. But either way, hosted it there, and we just managed to win that, which was cool because that meant we qualified for this competition. And then we went over to Australia with the team, and that was myself, Callum Gifford, Megan Gifford, Nicola Doig, who was Hannah back then, Richard Iodine, and Zach. And that was the beginning kind of Zach's Pack, which was our team for the following years that went to the games. And we went to this competition, and we ended up coming second, and we came second to CrossFit Active, which was like Chad McKay and Alethea Boone and Harriet Roberts, like all these awesome athletes. And we were like, oh, okay, maybe we're not too bad as a team together. And had a really good time doing so. We're all really good friends and enjoyed everybody, like one another's company. So it just made like the team element of it really easy. And then from there, shortly after or throughout that time of the year, CrossFit had announced that they were changing their qualifying process, and that rather than for regionals and rather than it being the top 3 that qualified, it was the top 5. So Callum and Zach got together, and they kind of led the way for us, and we all agreed to saying that we're going to try and make it to the games the following year, try and put a team towards regionals, see how we go. And so that started Zach's Pack, which was 2015, which followed into 2015. Then from there, 2015, we qualified through the Open, and then for regionals, came second at regionals with Zach's Pack. and then qualified for the games, which was awesome. A whole different ball game in terms of training, in terms of style of programming too. At the same time, the games programming and is very, very different. Or the games training and leading into it is very different. I didn't mind it, but it is really tough. And then 2015, we went to the games and we got smashed. We got smashed. We came like, I don't even remember, maybe 32nd again, but like we got smashed. And we basically, the majority of the time from the get-go, we were injured following into each workout. There was a beach workout where we had to do so many deadlifts and a swim around a pier.
Yeah.
And like people's hamstrings got torn and stuff. And I can't actually remember it specifically, but it was a really, really tough experience going there and being slightly overwhelmed by seeing all these amazing athletes and being out of your depth to a certain degree because you don't know how things roll. And we didn't necessarily have a coach to guide us along the way, which most of the teams go and do.
Yeah.
So it was a tough experience, but it was really good and really valuable because it made us want to come back harder the following year. So that was 2015. It's really interesting to go through like a game season because it's 8 months of your entire year that you're dedicating to like every single day of pushing yourself, pushing your body, being mentally active in every single day. So 8 months can be a long time to continuously be excited and have the fire with CrossFit and stuff. So generally after like a CrossFit game season, I would take quite a bit of time off.
Yeah, you probably need it because you'd have to be on the ball really with like you say, training, nutrition, everything. It's like a 24/7 thing for that 8 months of the year.
Yeah. People that don't go through it don't understand that so much. Like you don't see your family, you don't see your friends, like you make so many sacrifices, and that's fine because that's what you want to do and that's what you're committed to. But like from the get-go, from Christmas, just after New Year's, you're training for the Open. You train hard for the Open. You have a week off, and then you go train hard for regionals. And then if you qualify the games, you have a short time off, and you're training hard for the games all the way up until the games. So it's a good solid 8 months of being fully immersed into this goal of crushing it at the games and getting to the games. So it can be like quite overwhelming, amazing. Like don't get me wrong, it's an amazing experience, but it is a full-on experience. And so 2015, I took a little bit of break after the games, as you do, and then we were like, as a team, we didn't necessarily want that to be our games experience because it wasn't a fun experience. So we made the decision, Zach Spack made the decision to, at the end of 2015, to try again in 2016. This time around, Richard Iodine had a lot of studying and stuff to do, so he had to pull out, and we had Michael Rankin come in, who is a legit OG as well to the sport. And he jumped in our team. So that went well. We qualified for the Open, qualified for regionals. And before that time, we all were committed to actually winning regionals as well and doing the best to dominate and as much as we can. And it was pretty cool. It was actually a really cool time because we actually did do that, and that was really satisfying being on top of that podium in regionals. I think
that'd be an amazing feeling, right?
Yeah, especially because every single one of our teammates were committed to that one goal, and you could feel the energy in our team. It was so cool. We loved it. It was a great time. And then so we qualified, came first at regionals in 2015, and then geared up to lead into the games. Went to the games and we got smashed again. It's fine.
Did you have a different mindset or whatever going into those games? Like, did you take it more seriously maybe from the first year?
We always took it seriously. It was just about a matter of how we managed ourselves. Like last year, like in 2014, 15, sorry. No, 14. 2015, we lost in my own track. It's been so long. 2015, like I said, like we didn't have a coach. I remember Callum talking about this a while ago in his chat, and he mentioned and reminded us that we had like a mile run to do, in one of our workouts, and the day before we went to go to the track and do our mile run to test ourselves and whatnot. So like our preparation for it wasn't as smart as what we had leading into 2016. Actually, it was 2016. So this time around we
learned from those experiences, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Manage things better.
Yeah, 100%. And you do with any experience. Like I say, like 2015, even though like it was a rough experience at the games, we learned heaps from it for the following year. And me.
That's a good question for you. Who would win? Let's have an honest answer.
Oh, Shivers. I don't want to say it because I feel like I would lose. And I'm way too stubborn. Oh, I don't know. We're both pretty stubborn, both pretty competitive, but
who's got better endurance? So, like, if you went out of 3 or something, would you take him down?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't want to. I'm just going to say me then. I'm going to own it and be like me. We should do one day, Callum. Yeah, where was I at? Oh, I swear, it's so long ago. It's so funny that it's like really actually nice to really reflect on the time. So yeah, 2016 we went to the games and we got smashed again, but we got better. We did get better and we managed ourselves better, but it just so happened that everybody else got better too at the same time. So and it was a great experience. And although like even though we achieved some really highs, like coming second and first at the at regionals, like, and then coming to the games and coming nearly dead last, the whole experience and journey in itself was pretty valuable and like irreplaceable in a way. Like it was pretty cool. Oh gosh, there's my mom. Oh, please. Do you know what? My family have all tuned into this. They're so funny. Oh, so I'm getting
fair enough. They want to hear your story as well, right?
Yeah, so the journey itself was really, really cool. It was amazing. And then, like I said, like you spent 8 months dedicating yourself to this team and to this journey, and then once that 8 months kind of passes and you come to the end of the games, then it's like you take some time out to reflect and see where you want to move on to next. So that was like 2016. Who was the nicest team? Do I answer these or do I just keep going?
Hey, yeah, well, I would usually ask them, but you're reading them, so yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't. I'm getting distracted. Who was the nicest team, Jim, you're up against? That was actually Mayhem Freedom. They were cool, man. Rich Froning was pretty cool, I must admit. But I'm gonna move on. What did I say? So I'm at 2016. I told you it's so long. 2016. Yeah, so then I chilled out for a little bit, and then 2017 came around, and Zach's Pack were like, okay, we've got things that we individually want to achieve. Like myself and Megan wanted to go to regionals as an individual. So that was the end of Zach's Pack, which is cool. And then we had other people that like Nicola Hanna, I should say, wanted to move on to different places and have a family and whatnot. So that was different. That's cool. So 2017 went into the Open, hoping to crack it into regionals, and managed to do that. That was an interesting year for me because I had some personal stuff that happened, which really impacted my approach to CrossFit. I actually didn't care much about CrossFit at all. 2017, I think used it as a more of a process to deal with something I was dealing with personally. But it was cool. It was fine. I went qualified for regionals as an individual in 2017, which is awesome. Which happened to be my best year yet. I came 11th that year, which was cool. Which was a big achievement for me. And then after that, after regionals, I left the country. I kept it for a little bit because I was like, I just need a bit of time out. So went to Australia for a bit. Yeah. And I think also when you dedicate yourself to something for so long and put everything into it, it was time for me to just like have a bit of space from CrossFit. And even though the place that I went to was like, it's a place called Monkey Mia, and my brother lives there at the moment, and it's like in 10 hours up Perth in the wop-wops in the desert. So like of all places, when I've been training every day for regionals, really tough to go to a place that has like I think I had to make a squat rack out of like some tires or something like that, just to get some kind of outlet of fitness. It was interesting, but it was really, really great. So
that's cool. I just want to touch on going back to in 2017, you had some personal stuff and you weren't really taking CrossFit too seriously in that. What sort of happened there? Like, what was the go?
What happened personally?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just went through a big breakup. That's what it was. That's what it was, which is fun. I'd been with somebody for 14 years and I just had a big breakup. So I was like, and a lot of it had to do with me focusing on, it was a long distance relationship that broke up, which is fine. But I also invested myself a lot into the sport that I kind of neglected a few of things that were important.
Yeah.
So that's what happened, but it's fine. And it really motivated me to just kind of let go of the seriousness of CrossFit too at the same time, which I think was quite nice because I'd been so caught up for a long time and being seriously invested in the sport, and to be able to take a step back and be like, okay, that's just something to the side. That's not the thing that I'm going to sacrifice everything for now, was quite refreshing and good for me, I think.
It's a nice way to sort of reset everything, rethink everything of how it's going and whatnot.
Yeah. So it was nice. I didn't care like where I came at regionals. I didn't care about my place. I didn't care like about like how I did at all. I just did what I needed to do. And they always talk about, not thinking about or not focusing on the outcome, just think of the process and be in the process. And I was just doing that. And I think that's why I really enjoyed that season. I really enjoyed being at regionals and not being overwhelmed by it all. But yeah, usually I perform best when I just don't care.
It's good. It takes all the pressure away from everything, right? If you're so like caught up with things and like so tense about everything, your performance probably isn't going to help. So being able to just relax and take things as they come is a lot better.
Yeah. I think the one workout I was really nervous about and really tense about, and what I didn't enjoy, the only workout out of like maybe 7 or 8, can't remember what it was a workout on the second day, and I got really nervous because I got into the second heat, the second highest heat. That's all it was. And like, it was just thinking of me being in that space, comparing myself to the people around you. And then throughout the whole entire time, I didn't care about that. I was just like, I'm just here to do me. I'll stay in my own lane, and that was the only bit that I just don't like about it, because I remember feeling intimidated, and I didn't need to at all. So yeah, learning from those experiences is huge.
And then sort of fast forwarding it to more recent times in that you're still training pretty hard, I take it. And
so the year after, I still qualified for regionals and I shat the bed. Basically, it was a good year. 2018 was a good year. I moved down here to Christchurch. Was in a really different environment because I was so used to being around, training with Megan all the time, who's an incredible athlete in herself, and having my coach around all the time. So this was really different because I had no one. It was just me. But it was a good year. For that year, I think I won the New Zealand Open, which was cool. It was a big goal for myself because I was like, I can do this by myself. Not having anybody push me, I can do it. And I did it, and that was cool. And then I went to regionals, and then I had the experience was completely different to the year before. So that year, pressure got to me really badly. And I had tendinitis in my right elbow, and I had this terrible stroke pattern for rowing, which flared up my elbow, which then flared up my whole entire arm to do double unders. And then from there onwards, the whole experience was really tough. So 2018.
What was what caused you to have a bad year at regionals that year? Like, mentally not there, or?
Nah, I just crumbled under pressure. I put pressure and expectations on myself to get to a certain place, and I did the complete opposite. I focused on the outcome. I focused on trying to win things rather than actually enjoying it.
Processes like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, total opposite. So I say I learned from it, and I didn't learn from it, did I? Oh, terrible. So now 2019, last year, I have been training hard since 2019. I did Down Under with the Renegade Z team. So I kind of thought to myself, I actually really enjoy team stuff way more than I enjoy being an individual. I've always done team sport. So I decided that that's what I'm going to stick at. That's what I'm going to work at. And last year, Callum put together the team Renegade Z, which was myself, James Conyu, Rachel Palmer, and Michael Makaire. And we had 2 training sessions together, but we're real good friends from way back, so it was okay. We're like, okay, cool, we'll just see how this goes. We obviously all trained really hard ourselves for it individually, but like I said, had 2 training sessions together. Then went to Down Under and came 4th, I think, but it was the most coolest and funnest experience I've had in a long time. Well, probably since X-Pac. So I was like, yep, that's where it's at, team. I'm just going to stick with this team for as long as I can. And so last year after Down Under, we were like, okay, if we do this properly and train together properly, then we're going to train towards getting to the games this year. So that was the goal at the end of last year. And then I had certain things happen. I found pregnant at the end of last year. It was a surprise. I was watching the movie Knocked Up. And of all things, and my partner goes to me, I was complaining about having sore butts. And my partner goes, joking around, oh, maybe you're just pregnant. And I was like, nah, whatever. And I was like, oh. I ran down to the supermarket, got me a test, and I was like, holy shit. Not what I expected, not what I prepared for, not what I was wanting to happen, because this year was planned. It was actually a big year.
Big year. Yeah.
So I fell pregnant at the end of last year, and then that time was really tough because it was right around Christmas time, and then Christmas time led into New Year's, and then earlier this year, I'd planned to do the Australian CrossFit Champs, planned to do Metcon Madness, planned to do Down Under, which was supposed to be in May, but now in July. So I was gearing up for a good year of competition and really excited to be back doing some team stuff. And hopefully with Down Under getting to the games. So when I came pregnant, it was a real shock to me. And I didn't know what to do because I had all this competition leading up, and I didn't know if I could train or compete while I was pregnant at the same time, because everything I knew about my body was basically forgotten, because you just lose it. You lose your body in a way. You lose the right to your body. It takes over. And for a person that is so in tune with my body, because I know what to eat to make it better. I know what to eat to make myself perform better. I know that I need to sleep at a certain time and whatnot. I know the reason why I'm tired. So being having that taken away was a real shock to me. And then I didn't know how I was going to be able to compete because I couldn't manage my body the way that I wanted to. And then being in a team, you feel very I didn't want to let anybody down. So
you were still training and everything while you were pregnant at that point?
Yeah, I was still training. There were certain things I could do and couldn't do to a certain degree, because you're only supposed to really train to a percentage of what your outcome can give. So it's like about a 70% intensity. So I had to keep the intensity down. And it just so happened at the time that I was in Australia for a holiday, and the heat over there was really tough. And I had needed to be quite mindful that I didn't get overheated, basically. So I had to hold back quite a bit in my training. So that also was quite confusing, because then I was like, well, if I can't compete here in Gold Coast where I'm supposed to compete here in a couple months' time, how am I going to actually do that properly? So I reached out to quite a few CrossFitters, actually. Caitlin Zanville, sorry if I said your name properly, who's an Australian CrossFitter. She's an incredible athlete. She qualified for the games this year and has gone to Wadapalooza, but she's like a mum of, she's amazing. She's a mum of one. And I reached out to her just to get some advice on how to train. And then also reached out to another lady called Nikki Hedder, who owns a CrossFit gym in Auckland as well, and she coaches pregnant mums. So I reached out to her just to get some advice, and just like everybody's different, everybody's response is different, everybody's body is different. So it was a matter of listening to my body and certain signs and how it was going to be. So in my head, I was like, I want to still compete. But my body at the time was not doing what I wanted to.
I guess.
Yeah, it was not a good time. But and then I found out maybe like 4 weeks into my pregnancy that I miscarried. By that time, actually the day before I found out I miscarried, I told Callum and Megan that I was pregnant. And I told the Renegade Z team that I was pregnant, because at that point I've been like, okay, I've accepted this. Come May, I'm going to actually be heavily pregnant, so there's no way I can do down under. And then even with the Australian CrossFit champs, I was really concerned about risking it, because I was in Gold Coast and didn't have a good experience of being there. And like, I just don't want to let my team down. So the day before I found out I miscarried, I told Callum. And then the day after, I told him and Megan, I just found out that I miscarried. So it was all a really tough time, because it's like you come to a point where like you're dealing with your body going through all of these different things, because physically and mentally it affects you hugely. And then coming to a point where, okay, this is what my future is going to look like. This is what my year is going to look like, completely different to what I planned it out to be. So I got to the point where I'd accepted it. And then that happened, and then that kind of threw me completely out of whack.
For someone who would never I'd never, I guess, get that feeling or know what that would feel like. I can't. What did that sort of do to you mentally, and then how did you overcome having a miscarriage?
Mentally, it was super tough, because and I've only really got to a point now where I'm okay with it and I can talk about it freely and be okay. Because the thing is, when you miscarry, is your body is still passing through everything that's in your body, and so you're going through that process, but also mentally trying to accept that something you wanted is not there anymore. So it's really conflicting between the two, because your head is telling you something, but your head is wanting to move on, your heart's wanting to move on, but your body's not letting you. And I didn't have a very good experience in the sense that when I was told that I was miscarried in the nurse's office, I didn't get told about what my options were. And there are a few different options. If you miscarry, you can have it flushed out. You can go home and go through the process of letting it come out and stuff. And then you can also have like a pill that to help get the process going and have everything come out. And I didn't get told any of that. I just got told to call my doctor in a couple of weeks. So that in itself was really confusing, because I didn't understand what was going on, and then my body was still going through things. So I wasn't training a hell of a lot then, because it wasn't necessarily something that was important to me, and I was really bit messed up in my head to be able to think that training was important, or even being able to move or to push my body, because my body was still not in a good place.
I'd say that's a completely normal thing as well, not being able, like, you don't want to train during that period. You've got to figure out in your head what's going to go on and all that sort of stuff. So it makes total sense.
Yeah. And I think just things happen rapidly. Like, I accepted it, and then that didn't happen, and then now I've got to process and go and think about my year being totally different all over again. Like, everything was moving really, really fast for me. And then it wasn't until a couple of weeks later that I actually ended up in hospital, because I had really severe pains. And then that's when that nurse told me the process of how it works and what's happening to my body. So, like, had I known that information earlier, I would have been able to deal with it a bit better, I think. Which is like leading to like what I'm really interested in at the moment. So that whole time was really, really tough, and everybody around me, like everybody from the Renegade Z team, everybody from Renegade Performance, were incredible. Like, they were just so supportive. And the thing is with like that, the teams in Renegade and the people of Renegade is, like, I talk about them being like a family, but they are like, they were all they're all really close friends. They're all super supportive. We're all really close friends. So it's actually like a really beautiful place to be in, and actually really nice, because everybody was just giving me time.
It's exactly what you need during that sort of period in your life as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah. There's a lot of women out there that don't have support and go through this process by themselves. And although like it is a really, really tough process to go through, because your body's going through it, no one else's body, but like having people just be there, and there's nothing that people can say. Like, you can say that it is common, because it is very common, but it's very hard for that person to really accept that, because it's like, I understand the science behind it, but at the same time, it's not how I feel, and I'm still grieving over this, because it is loss. So like, I was very lucky to have a bunch of support from everywhere. And then like I was just real reckless afterwards. I was a few weeks out from it, or a couple of weeks out. I was like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to bury my feelings, and I'm just going to train hard for CrossFit, and then do the Australian CrossFit Champs, so I can ignore everything that's going on in my head and what's going on with my body. And like, obviously my body's still processing stuff, and it does for you until you're like 3 months postnatal in a way. So or post birth. So I was just like, I'm just gonna throw myself into CrossFit, and I did, and then I got injured, which is like very lucky for me, because I have been doing CrossFit for 7 years now, and the only injury I had, touch wood, is been tendonitis in my elbow, and then now I've just injured my I tore my ATFL ligament in my ankle. So I was doing a burpee sandbag over a high box, so throwing the sandbag over the box, and then I jumped over, and then my foot rolled off the sandbag. So
coming down off the box, it rolled.
Just coming down and off the box. So excuse me. So I tore my ATFL, my ankle, and from there it was just like, as cliche as it is, it was a bit of a sign to be like, okay, you got to slow down now. It's time to slow down. Yeah. I can't keep like pushing the way that I was, and like there's so much that happened throughout that time of the end of Christmas through till then that I was just like, oh, I got to slow down. So the last 8 weeks I've been rehabbing my ankle. I've been doing it through a really close friend of mine down here in Christchurch. His name's Kelsey Regler. He owns a programming company programming online thing called Virtuous Approach. So he's a coach at Trailblazer too. So because he was down here, I was like, well, it would be really cool if you could just help me rehab my ankle to get it to the best place that it needs to be, because I don't want to come out of this feeling like I'm weaker than what I was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've spent the last 8 weeks just rehabbing. So the process has been really slow. If you're injured and if you've experienced being injured, it's frustrating at times, and you get impatient because you want to move and you want to move fast, but you're not allowed to move fast. But then you're like, oh, this is a really great time because I get to focus on movement rather than focusing on intensity and or moving for a purpose. I can actually focus on every single little muscle that I'm trying to move, and which is great. But then sometimes you're just like, I just want to move fast.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And then you try and move fast, and you're like, "Oh, I'm not ready."
Can't do it.
So the last 8 weeks I've been rehabbing, and then now I am in my first training cycle after 3 months. So yeah.
So what's your goals and things for this year, and where do you want to? What are we going to see from you sort of this year or in the future?
Okay, so I'm competing at Down Under, if it happens, if we're allowed to go there.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed, because I'm working hard now. I'm getting thumped. So competing at Down Under with the Renegade Z team, doing our best as humanly possible to qualify for the games, if they also happen to at the same time, and if we can get there. So that is the goal. Really simple, but a big goal. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good luck with that, and hopefully you can get there and do all that sort of stuff.
Thank you. Sorry, I ranted a bit.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Do you have any sort of final words for the viewers out there?
No, but I have to give a lame shout out to my brother because he wanted me to give him a shout out. He lives in Australia and he tuned in. So shout out to Nicholas Root. There you go. I did it. Happy.
Hello, Nicholas.
Yeah. I don't even know if he's here, Nicky. But yeah, he's. That's all I needed to say. Thank you. I really appreciate you. I appreciate the time and having me on as well. Thank you.
No, thank you very much for coming on, and thank you for sharing your story with everyone out there. Just thanks a lot. Where can people find you if they want to follow you or see what you do, all that sort of stuff?
Oh, there you go. It's underneath the screen. For my Instagram, it's Gemma_Root, and then just basically on Facebook, which is Gemma Root. I'm pretty straightforward.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks again, Gemma. I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your story. And it was great to catch up with you.
Thank you, Levi.
No worries. Hopefully we'll see you again.
Bye.
Bye. There you go, team. That was Gemma Root. So that was pretty intense stories there. It was amazing.
Right. She was. I want to talk to her.
Yeah.
She's lovely as.
Definitely some interesting stories, and man, like what a woman, eh? Like so strong, and to get through what she's done is incredible.
Oh, definitely. And she's she's got so much experience and such a wealth of knowledge. And hearing her story about what's happened to her would have been super challenging, but glad to hear that she's back on her feet.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Absolutely. And just my 2 cents, brothers, is that Levi, bro, that was me. The perspective of what you were going on and in terms of like the miscarriage and stuff, like that's ruthless. And someone at her level being so vulnerable like that and sharing her story, especially with a male, man, I take my hat off, bro. Honestly, you did that, bro. Good on you. Proud of you.
Thanks, Mo. And I hope other people out there that maybe have gone through an experience like that can sort of take something out of that and what Gemma has said, and maybe find a way to get through it mentally and all that sort of stuff. So just got to say thanks again, Gemma, for sharing her story, because that was incredible.
Absolutely. Well, that's us, team. I'm sure everyone enjoyed and took some vulnerability and strength out of that episode. What a brave, strong wahine is all I can say. Don't forget to share this video. Make sure you follow Gemma Root and her community, Trailblazer, on Insta and Facebook. Keep an eye out on our social media pages for the up and coming guests for next week. And yeah, I think that's all about us, brothers. Like another RX done and dusted through the screen.
Sweet, we're getting better.
Yeah, we are.
We're getting better at this. Yo.
Oh, thanks, Colin. Yes.
Anyways, we'll see you all next week. Don't forget to tune in. That's us, brothers.
Sweet.
RX
out.
Later.